Hello one and all, and welcome back to Johnny's Guitar Nook. Today, I would like to talk to you about some of the questions that every new electric guitarist has. And when I say every, I mean most, because there are always exceptions. So let's get right into it. Question number one comes from a longtime follower and friend, Johnny Thunder, out of New Jersey, who says, can you play electric guitar without an amp? And the answer to that is yes, of course you can. You can play an electric guitar without an amp, and I will give you an example, my friends. Here I am plugged into my 25 watt little practice amp here. This is a clean setting. You'll notice that there's not a lot of gruffness to it. You hear every string very cleanly. As opposed to this sort of sound, which has distortion. Again, clean. And now, let's hear how this guitar sounds without any amplification whatsoever. And just to prove there is no amplification, there's no microphones anywhere here. Now unplug the guitar. And I believe you will be able to hear this recorded by my iPhone about 5 feet away. So if you get an electric guitar versus an acoustic guitar, why would you do such a thing? The two instruments are different in the following ways. Number one is the real audiences that they attract. Many songs that feature electric guitars or bands that feature electric guitars may utilize acoustic guitars to create a dynamic. But I would say that in general, audiences that are strictly attracted to acoustic guitar songs and sounds are generally looking for a more relaxed vibe than those who prefer the electric guitar sound, which, in my opinion, can provide more energy to an audience by simply turning up and turning on a couple switches. You can get an entire audience's attention in one stroke or strum of your strings. Let's move on to the next question, which comes from a fellow in New Jersey by the name of Johnny Thunder. How often do you change strings? And that's a great question, Johnny. And I will answer that by saying this. You need to replace a string when it breaks, because otherwise you will not be able to play the instrument as it is designed with all 6 strings, or more or less, depending on special types of guitars you may get. But otherwise, strings need to be clean so that they can sound their best. And once they get dirty, and if they've been sitting out for a while, as many of my instruments do, they can also oxidize or rust. And if they rust, then they're going to lose some of their quality, some of their sound, and at that point, I think they should be replaced. So for those who are a bit more concerned with the extreme quality of their strings, I would say every, 20 hours of practice or so, replace them. And that's if you're really particular about your strings. Otherwise, I'd say every 6 months, 3 to 4 months, just when they start to look a different color than that shiny, silvery tone they start with, then it's time to replace them. Let's move right along. How soon will I be able to play a song? That's a great question. Who asked that? Johnny Thunder out of New Jersey. Oh, I know that guy. He's been my fan for a long time. Good to hear from you, Johnny. Well, I think in order to be able to play a guitar song, First, it's important to understand that songs have certain levels to them. When I say levels, I mean, take a song like Knocking on Heaven's Door, which has been done by several bands. It can be as simple as knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Yeah. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Yeah. Many musicians will take that up another level, and you can add chords to that. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. You can add rhythm, you can add guitar solos. And so to play the simplest of songs, I would say in general it takes a few months of guitar playing. And then if you want to add on all these special little guitar solos, sometimes there's little riffs or things, you know. Where that can take a little while to get under your fingers. That may take about 6 months. If you are an extremely dedicated player, I would say that within a year or so of dedicated playing, and that would be, say, an hour or so, a few days a week plus, you could play some fairly advanced songs. It's really just how dedicated you are and how you utilize your practice time. Question number 4. When will I be able to say I'm ready to join a band? This is a great question. Again, it's from myself. How about that? Out of New Jersey as well. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. When will I be ready to join a band? You have a guitar, you're excited to get playing, you start playing, you're probably going to tell some of your friends, and they may say, hey, we'd love for you to join us in a band. Being in a band is one of the greatest ways to learn your instrument, to learn how to play in front of an audience, to learn how to eventually record your music, because you will have to play to a certain cadence, rhythm, beat, and you will have to do it under a certain amount of pressure. Anytime you're recorded and you're playing more than a few notes, the longer you go, it's natural to feel more pressure, because if you mess up 2 minutes into a track, you're going to have to redo it. So when it comes to saying join a band, it's really about how proficient are the other musicians and what is your goal. If people have been playing for years, they have written songs, can keep time, have played with other musicians, and you are brand new to the instrument, I would not advise you to say you are ready to join a band. But if you are all new musicians, I think it can be extremely valuable to play along to some of your favorite songs together. And you pick a simple song, try to keep the rhythm, try to play along to it, and it's a great way to, as I said, learn your instrument. And if you would like to play live in a band, understand that being in a band is about learning songs. Once you learn your basic chords, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, goes a lot more technical from there. It takes time to learn songs and to play them at a level that you're ready to perform them live. A typical live performance will require at least 6 songs up to, say, 30, 40. If you are playing a night of a truly live gig, like playing at a bar or an event, you are expected to be the evening entertainment. So again, it comes down to practice. But long story short, I would say about a year. If you've been practicing a year and you have worked on what your goals are in terms of being able to play live, you should practice standing up, practice a bit of stage performance, practice looking up as you play so that you don't always have to be, you can look up. And yeah, about a year, but it can vary significantly. Next. I do not know why my guitar keeps doing that. The next question we have is, why can't I get my guitar to sound like so-and-so? I remember when I was learning guitar, my idol was Angus Young of AC/DC. And no matter how I set my amplifiers, no matter what I did on my guitar or what I tried to learn, I just couldn't sound like that. And here it's important to understand that most of the songs you hear on the radio or that have become widely heard and widely spread have been produced with a certain level of quality, where even those instruments, or excuse me, those musicians themselves probably don't sound like that all the time practicing. They sound like that when they are in the studio. Their instruments have been perfectly tuned. They are perfectly set on the amplifiers, the microphones. They've been reproduced through a production studio to have the EQ set, EQ being the basses, the mids, the highs, setting the sound perfectly, ironing out any instruments with some software. Any mistakes, so-called, with the playing, the software. And so, going back to the question, sometimes it's just that you don't have the equipment to do it. You don't have the amplifier, you don't have the effects. In this case, I would like you to listen to the difference between, again, the clean sound of my amp, which is buzzing phenomenally because the cord isn't in. A clean sound. And if I only had an amplifier that had that sound, I would never be able to get it to sound like this with my distortion pedal. And just to be extreme with the difference, let's turn it all the way up, more or less. I believe even an untrained ear could hear the difference between those two. And so sometimes it's just impossible to do so. But also it does take practice and technique to understand exactly how your musicians that you like are creating the sound that they are. It's not always about just making the same note. With guitar, a lot of times it's about how the notes are played, be they bent, you slide into a note, you use a tremolo bar, things of that nature. And the last and final question of the day from I. And I believe refers, I know him, and that is Johnny Thunder out of New Jersey. Me, myself, and I. Yes, I know him. Man, we go way back. So how long does it take to get good at guitar? There's no set amount of time. Nobody on this planet, perhaps in another universe or time or dimension, can naturally play guitar, but otherwise it takes practice. My favorite way to demonstrate this is to do the following. This is a simple exercise called the chromatic scale. Which I have just played with my normal right-handed technique. Right-handed meaning I pick with my right hand, play the fretboard with my left hand. I'll do it again. It's a descending chromatic scale. And now I want to see what it would be like to play left-handed, because I don't play guitar left-handed. Now granted, the strings are upside down, so I'm already going to have to deal with that hurdle. Let's just see what this sounds like. As you can see, it doesn't sound very good. It takes practice. And there's nothing you can do to get around that. But practice doesn't mean you have to sit there and go practice can mean you pretend you're in front of an audience of 100,000 people and you have learned a technique, you put on a song or a backing track and you apply it, or you play along to a song. Going back to the knocking on heaven's door example. When it comes to guitar playing, I would say there's nearly nothing more exciting than when you master a song and know in your mind, your heart, and your fingers that you are ready to play it live in front of an audience and that they are going to feel the energy from your playing. And so, how long does it take to get good at playing guitar? It all depends on how much you love it. I would say at least 6 months to be able to play confidently live, but it's really up to you. Do you have any more questions? I would love to know. Please like, subscribe, and comment. There's a bug on my floor that has drawn my attention, and I'm easily distracted. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to Johnny's Guitar Nook. This is my nook. These are my guitars, and I am Johnny. Have a lovely night, and thank you for tuning in. If you stayed till the end, let me know what kind of video you'd like me to make for you, because I'm open to ideas. And again, have a lovely night. And again, have a lovely night. No, but really. No, but, kidding.